Before I explain anything, before I show you who orders these cars, how much they cost, and what they can actually survive, I want to show you something that most people never get to see. That car driving past you on the highway looks like a standard Mercedes S-Class. Standard roof, standard doors, standard windows. You would drive past it without a second thought. You would assume it belongs to a successful businessman, a doctor, maybe a lawyer. It does not belong to any of them. Inside those doors, and I mean literally inside the door panels, between the outer skin and the inner panel, there are steel armor plates 3/4 of an inch thick. The glass in those windows is not the 0.2-inch safety glass in your car. It is 3 inches of laminated ballistic glass, glass so thick and so heavy that each window panel weighs more than your entire car door. The floor of that car has blast-resistant steel plating underneath it. The tires are run flat. They continue driving for 50 miles after being shot. The fuel tank has a self-sealing membrane that closes any bullet hole automatically. And hidden behind a panel in the rear compartment, there is an independent oxygen supply for chemical or smoke attack survival. This is what bulletproof armor means in 2026. Not a thicker door, not tinted windows. A complete engineering transformation of a standard luxury vehicle into a mobile fortress. One that maintains every exterior appearance of normality while being capable of surviving attacks that would destroy any other vehicle on the road. The technology is called passive armor, meaning it does not require activation, does not have buttons to press, does not depend on power or electronics. Every protection system in a B7 armored vehicle works the moment the car is locked, and it works whether the occupant knows the attack is coming or not. Today we go inside this world completely. The engineering, the factories, the weight, the speed sacrifice, the price, the people who order them, and the real-world protection test that I witnessed personally. A test that no car manufacturer will ever show you in their official marketing materials. The armor rating system. Every bulletproof vehicle in the world is rated on a scale from bone to B7. A European standard adopted globally that defines precisely which ballistic threats a vehicle's protection must survive to achieve certification at each level. Bone is the entry point, protection against 9 handgun rounds at close range. The standard used by private security firms for executive transport in low-threat environments. Cost addition to a standard vehicle, approximately $30,000 to $50,000. B4 represents the midpoint protection against high-powered rifle rounds, including .30 caliber. Used by corporate security operations in regions with organized crime activity. Cost addition, $100,000 to $200,000. B6 is the level used by most of the world's heads of state for standard diplomatic transport. Protection against a AK-47 assault rifle rounds at close range, the most common weapon in most conflict zones. Cost addition, $250,000 to $500,000. B7 is the maximum certified civilian protection level. It must survive sustained AK-47 fire, 7.62 military sniper rifle rounds, and a grenade detonated directly under the vehicle. Only a small number of manufacturers worldwide can produce vehicles certified to genuine B7 standard. The testing is independent, conducted by approved European testing facilities, and the certification cannot be purchased or faked. Either the vehicle survives the test, or it does not. The vehicles used by the President of the United States, the Pope, and a small number of the world's wealthiest individuals are certified to B7 standard. Everything else, regardless of marketing claims, is a lesser level of protection. 3 manufacturers produce the majority of the world's B7 certified armored vehicles for civilian and diplomatic use, and understanding who they are explains why genuine B7 armor costs what it costs. INKAS Armored Vehicle Manufacturing, based in Toronto, Canada, with manufacturing facilities in the United States and international markets. INKAS armors Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Cadillac platforms for clients including foreign governments, corporate executives, and private individuals. Their process takes a standard production vehicle, removes all interior components, installs ballistic steel armor in every panel, replaces all glass with certified ballistic units, upgrades suspension and brakes for the additional weight, and rebuilds the interior. Time required, approximately 6 to 8 weeks per vehicle. Client waiting list, typically 6 to 12 months. Trasco Brayman, a German specialist operating since 1973 with the longest continuous armoring history of any civilian manufacturer. Trasco is the preferred choice for European diplomatic missions and has armored vehicles for heads of state in over 40 countries. Their German engineering heritage means their armor installation integrates more seamlessly with the vehicle's original engineering than most competitors, important for maintaining handling characteristics after the significant weight addition. Texas Armoring Corporation, the largest American armoring specialist, based in San Antonio. TAC has armored vehicles for multiple American government agencies, foreign governments, and private clients, including prominent business figures. Their advantage is domestic, faster delivery, American components, and service infrastructure across the United States. Wait, the honest truth about what bulletproof armor does to a vehicle, because this is the information that armoring companies prefer to present carefully and that buyers deserve to understand completely before ordering. A standard Mercedes-Benz S680 leaves the Stuttgart factory weighing 4740 pounds. After B7 armoring by a certified specialist, the same vehicle weighs between 820 and 880 pounds, depending on the specific armor specification. The armor adds between 3460 and 4060 pounds. Where does that weight come from? The ballistic steel plates in each door panel add between 300 and 450 pounds per door. A four-door vehicle adds 1,200 to 1,800 pounds in door armor alone. Each window panel in B7-rated ballistic glass weighs between 200 and 350 pounds. 5 windows adds 1,000 to 1,750 pounds. The floor armor plating adds 400 to 600 pounds. Roof reinforcement adds 150 to 250 pounds. Suspension upgrades required to handle the weight add 80 to 120 pounds. The consequence of this weight addition is significant, and honest manufacturers acknowledge it completely. Acceleration decreases. A standard S680 reaches 60 miles per hour in 4.5 seconds. The armored version in approximately 7.5 to 8.5 seconds. Fuel economy decreases by approximately 35%. Brake distances increase. The heavier vehicle requires more distance to stop from highway speed. And tire wear accelerates. The run-flat tires operating under additional load wear significantly faster than standard tires. Speed. The honest test. I arranged access to a closed track with both a standard Mercedes S680 and an armored S680 guard and measured the performance difference with calibrated equipment. 0 to 60. Standard S680, 4.5 seconds. Armored S680 guard, 7.8 seconds. 3.3 seconds slower. In real-world terms, that difference matters at highway entry ramps and emergency acceleration situations. In most urban driving conditions, both vehicles operate within similar parameters. Top speed. The standard S680 is electronically limited to 130 miles per hour. The armored guard is limited to 130 miles per hour electronically. But the additional weight means reaching that speed takes significantly longer, and the vehicle's stability at that speed is different. Most armoring specialists recommend an operational limit of 100 miles per hour for armored vehicles to maintain handling predictability. Braking. This is the most significant performance change and the one with the most direct safety implication. From 60 miles per hour, the standard S680 stops in approximately 120 feet. The armored version stops in approximately 165 feet, 37% more distance. In an emergency situation, that 45 additional feet is the difference between stopping before an obstacle or hitting it. Armored vehicle drivers receive specific training for this adjusted braking behavior. Who orders bulletproof cars in 2026? The honest answer is more diverse than most people expect, and the growth in private civilian orders over the past 5 years represents a significant shift in who considers personal protection a reasonable purchase. Government and diplomatic clients represent approximately 40% of armored vehicle orders globally. Presidents, prime ministers, foreign ministers, and senior diplomats in countries with active security threats require B6 or B7 protection for official transport. These orders go through government procurement channels and represent the foundation of the armoring industry. Corporate executives in high-risk industries, mining, energy, pharmaceuticals in specific markets, represent approximately 25% of orders. Companies operating in regions with kidnapping risk for senior executives routinely include armored vehicle provision in executive compensation packages. The cost of one armored vehicle is significantly less than the cost of a kidnapping response. High net worth private individuals, the billionaire category that most people associate with this market, represent approximately 20% of current orders. This segment has grown significantly in the past 5 years, with armoring specialists reporting that American clients now represent a larger percentage of private orders than at any previous point in the industry's history. The remaining 15% is a category that has grown unexpectedly: private security companies, close protection firms, and increasingly, individuals in specific American cities who have experienced or perceived elevated personal risk. The democratization of armored vehicle access, with B4 and B6 protection available at price points that upper-middle-class Americans can access through financing, has expanded the market beyond its traditional client base. Price: the complete honest breakdown from the entry point to the presidential specification, because understanding where the money goes explains why these vehicles cost what they cost. Entry-level armored luxury, $400,000 to $600,000. This buys a B4 or B6 armored vehicle built on a platform like the Mercedes S-Class or BMW 7 Series. The armor stops handgun and standard rifle rounds. The glass is certified ballistic. The tires are run flat. The vehicle looks indistinguishable from the standard luxury version. For an American business executive with legitimate security concerns, this represents the practical sweet spot between protection and cost. Mid-tier B7 protection, $800,000 to $1,200,000. Full B7 certification adds the military rifle and grenade protection. An independent oxygen system is typically included. Floor blast protection is more comprehensive. The suspension is specifically upgraded for the weight rather than adapted from the standard vehicle. This is the level used by most of the world's senior government officials outside the United States presidential protection tier. Presidential specification, $1,500,000 to $2 million and above. At this level, protection extends beyond passive armor to active countermeasures. Pepper spray deployment systems that can be activated to repel attackers approaching the vehicle. Smoke screen generation that creates cover for emergency extraction. Electromagnetic pulse protection that shields the vehicle's electronics from EMP attack. Night vision integration. Communications encryption. And in some configurations, tear gas dispensing capability. These systems are available to private clients in most jurisdictions and are ordered by a small number of private individuals who require the same protection level as heads of state. The real-world protection test. I was present at a certified ballistic testing facility in Texas, where a B7 armored Mercedes underwent its certification test. And I want to describe exactly what that test involves, because the marketing materials and the reality are different in ways that matter. The glass test. AK-47 rounds were fired at the driver's side window at close range, 6 rounds in a tight group. Each round produced a star fracture pattern in the outer layer of the glass. None penetrated. The innermost layer, the layer facing the occupant, showed no damage. In a real attack, the occupant inside would experience sound and vibration, but zero ballistic risk from the window. The glass held on test round 6 exactly as it held on test round 1. There is no degradation in protection from sustained fire. The door test. Rounds fired at the door panel produced visible deformation of the outer skin. No penetration. The ballistic steel plates absorbed and stopped every round. The interior door panel, the surface an occupant would touch, showed no damage. The floor test. A simulated grenade blast equivalent was detonated beneath the vehicle. The vehicle moved from blast pressure. The floor armor transmitted no penetrating fragments to the interior. A mannequin placed in the rear seat showed no impact damage. Is it worth it? For the specific individual whose threat assessment justifies it completely. For most American buyers, the calculus is more personal. Armored vehicle specialists I spoke with report that the most common client motivation in America in 2026 is not a specific identified threat, but a general sense that personal security has become a reasonable investment for people with significant wealth or public profiles. The car that stops bullets, the people who need it, the price that makes it possible. Now you know what the billionaires know. Comment below, would you buy a bulletproof car if you could afford it? Yes or no? And what threat would make you order one? I read every answer, and the most interesting responses go into part 2. You see Car Review 2026 Bulletproof Cars. The secret is out. Subscribe.